This is the heartbeat of human services, a peek into the inspiring stories of our community and all things DHS. Join us.
Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Jana Slagle, for the podcast, The Heartbeat of Human Services. And we thought it would be really fun to kind of end the year talking about the Holiday Cottage and some stories about the people that we came in contact with and just some lighthearted fun. So we just finished the Holiday Cottage, and I'm here today with all my staff. They're awesome. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? Allison, you start.
Hi, I'm Allison. I am the Marketing Promotions Coordinator here at the Department of Human Services.
We all forgot our time.
We all forgot. I know. We're not used to it. It's okay. What is your name, Alexis?
What is my name?
I'm just going around the...
Hi, I'm Alexis. I am the Office Service Technician for Outreach and Marketing. And then I guess I'll introduce Antoinette. She's behind the mics. But Antoinette, she is our Marketing and Promotions. And my name is Paola, and I'm also Marketing and Promotions.
And they are the best team ever, so you can't steal them if you're listening. Anyway, so the Holiday Cottage, this is our 36th year, right, you guys? Mm-hmm. And what is the Holiday Cottage? It's a program that the department came up with to make sure children in foster care got a wish for Christmas. And so when did we start this year putting it together?
So I was going to say, I think our listeners may not be familiar with, the process of Holiday Cottage and how we fill over 700 wishes every single year.
That'd be good to explain.
So we start early. We start in September, like early September, and around this same time, we're working on Jameson Barbecue and National Adoption Day. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty chaotic, and we start by sending out letters and then just trying to divide tasks for certain things. And this year, look, we have a great design and print team that helped us print all the letters with every single name of every single child that was currently in foster care that qualified for the program. And then we get those sent out the first week of October.
Yeah, and so just so people know, there's approximately 2,000 children in foster care in Kern County. And not all of those children are placed with county foster homes. So we do send the letters to children placed in county foster homes. And so that's probably a third of 2,000, which my math isn't very good, but maybe 1,100 or so, maybe a little less. And the ones that send the letter back with their wish, so it could be Lexus, age 10, wants a LOL doll, right? And so we enter that into our system, and then we make sure that somebody takes the wish. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it works.
And this year's was really special because it was the first time that our team got to do it in person. Jana,
that's right.
Jana had kind of carried it through the
the COVID
pandemic,
years.
And now we got to experiment with what it's going to look like going forward in the future. And I think from the stories of before, Jenna can kind of agree that maybe the organization of it was good this year, I hope.
Yeah. It's getting better every year. I think the technology's better, right?
Yeah.
So we have it all online for us too. And people can choose a wish online, which you were able to create that. So, that was really cool this year.
Yeah, I think one of the special things that we wanted to all talk about and let people know was the stories that we heard during the cottage while we were working it. During COVID, it wasn't as friendly, because we couldn't talk to people. It was kind of a drive-through that we had at the time. But this year, we've all heard amazing stories. Some of us have cried, not me. I would like to say it was other people. But I guess my story is running into a foster parent who came to pick up their gift for their child, for their foster child. And they themselves ended up turning to be a foster child themselves. And so every year she's been donating to us that she can, and she's gotten other people to come donate. But I remember her specifically from last year because she did 5 children, and they each got a pair of Vans, and she made these elaborate baskets. And that's what I hope to see from everyone, all our donors. And it was just special to see because she put so much time and effort into each of the gifts that she fills. Yeah.
So she herself was a foster parent before. A foster child.
Yes.
Foster child.
And she that was her other story too. I almost forgot to say. She said that she was part of, I don't know if it was necessarily our program, but a program that also gives presents during Christmas to foster kids. And she said she received a Cabbage Patch Kid. And at the time, she was saying that she already got one from her aunt that Christmas morning. And so she opened up the second one thinking it was on accident. And she looked at her aunt and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for opening this." And her aunt said, "No, that's for you." And she, in her mind, she remembers vividly saying that she didn't think she was special enough to have a second gift or another Cabbage Patch Kid. And I tried not to cry when she told me that. I was like, oh my gosh. So what we do is really important, and for all the donors too to give, because I mean, kids, it really impacts them.
Paula, I think you had another story.
Yeah. She just was wandering around looking to donate some toys and stumbled across our department at Kinship, and they're located right next to our annex building. And so she was trying to donate a bunch of Barbies, and I think she had other things, but they sent her to us because they knew our program was happening. And so she just told me a little bit about her story and why she's donating a bunch of Barbies, because I was like, where did you get all these Barbies? And she told me in LA they always have like this big, what do they call them? Those big sales where they just clump things together in bulk. Yeah, a bin.
Oh,
So she bought a bunch and she likes to donate. And so I said, oh, well, why do you donate? You really go out of your way all year. She has kids. She had like 3 kids of her own. And she just started telling me that, she doesn't have a lot of money, but that she feels it in her heart to donate because when she was a younger kid, her parents were going through a divorce and they ended up splitting up, and she ended up living with her mom on a single income. And I don't know if I'm telling too much, but it really just understands her backstory of she ended up going homeless in a sense with her mom. And so she knew how she felt in that time. She never wanted a child to feel the way she did because she didn't have all the things she wanted, the cool toys and everything. And so she gave us all these Barbies and said, I don't have a lot of money, but as long as my kids eat tonight, I know that I can afford this. Wow. And I know I will give this, and my family will always be taken care of, but I don't know if these kids will be taken care of. And I just want to give them a little bit of, happiness for the holidays. And I was trying she said a longer story, but that was the gist of it. And it made me tear up a little bit because I was like, wow, there's human beings out there like this. And
I love that.
Yeah, it shows you the good in the world. And so that was my last story for you guys.
I think I want to just say too, it was hard. It's a lot of work putting this together, and there were days where it was exhausting and we were all kind of exhausted, but when we see those kind of things happen, it really gave us energy. When we see those positive stories or we hear people sacrificially giving like that lady was, it's kind of why we do it. I remember this other story that I'm going to let Allison tell, but one of our kids in foster care asked for tickets to either Legoland or I think it was Universal. No, was it? Yeah, Universal Studios or Legoland for 4 tickets, right? And so we weren't sure about that one, but Allison, what happened with that?
Yeah, so me and Antoinette were there actually the day that the foster parent came to pick up, and we had a few members of the public that were interested in filling that wish, but they wanted more information. Foster parents are busy. Resource parents are busy. So we hadn't really heard from this resource parent. So we didn't know what to expect when she came to pick up. When she came to pick up and I told her what it was, she immediately started crying, and I was trying to hold it together, but Antoinette stepped in. She gave the woman a hug, and this girl was this woman that was picking up on behalf of her foster child was just so incredibly grateful, and she kept thanking us. And she was sick at the time, so she had this a no voice, and she was telling us how grateful she was, and to let the donors know how what a blessing this is going to be for her child. And it was just so incredible.
That is so cool.
And we couldn't have guessed what that reaction was going to look like. And so it was just a reminder of, what filling a wish can do, not only for the child themselves, but I mean, these resource parents are really connected to these children and they care a lot about them. So, you're blessing that whole family when you fill wishes.
And I think another thing too to add is that I don't know who mentioned it, but we had that same gift wish every single year. We really lean on the community to
Yes.
fill these wishes because we are only allowed to spend $50 on a gift,
Yeah.
whatever doesn't get filled. So that's why we really encourage the
Right,
community
absolutely.
to come in.
The other story that comes to mind for me, there's a man named Roger, and he started last year during COVID, and he came in towards the end of our time where we received gifts, and he said, I was in foster care myself, and I'd really like to bless a bunch of kids. And so he took like 10 wishes, and they were not inexpensive wishes, like they were like Air Force Ones and expensive, more on the expensive side. And he came back that same day and brought all those wishes back. This was last year. And then this year he found us again, did the same thing with his daughter. And so I don't know if you're listening, Roger, but we sure appreciate your kindness, because yeah, I just love it when people give back, because they were in the system themselves.
I kind of want to step backward a little bit to when we first started setting up for this year for Holiday Cottage. It was for most of our team, except for Janet, it was kind of going into the unknown and not knowing what the building could look like in the end. So the building that we took over this year is known as the West Annex, and it's at our kinship building, and it is usually used for meetings. And so we had to turn this space into something that's going to work for us. And how it all came about was Lex had this vision and she made it happen. So I wanted Lex to talk about the timeline.
We don't usually have her on our podcast, so she's like,
yeah. But I want you to talk about the timeline and what the work that went into it.
Designing the room, because you designed the room, Lex, right?
Yeah.
You like sketched it out. You sketched it out.
Since you're throwing me under the bus, I actually had a lot of help from Richard. We sat in this room and he was just moving a bunch of stuff around, and we were kind of going back and forth trying to agree on where everything should go. It was a little tricky. The space was tight. We were trying to have our 700 gifts in a small room. What we were given.
Yeah, because it's a long room. Like it's
very narrow.
It's narrow, and so he used that CAD whatever program to kind of sketch out where would things go, right?
And so really, it was kind of the lobby that was the trickiest, trying to fit the love seat and the
we had our
cabinets, all of the furniture. It was like and then making sure it looked nice for like our press conference and all of that. And I'm like, yeah, Richard started putting everything together for us, and then as soon as October hit, that's when Oscar actually stepped in, painted our mural, and they were getting all of that ready for us.
Wait. So we have to talk about the theme too. Like, who came up with that?
And so we did a brainstorming session for the Holiday Cottage, and it wasn't necessarily something solid. Like, we weren't necessarily working to come up with an idea, but we just thought, okay, we should just think about it at least. And something stuck about winter and this like very white winter snowy idea, and then it kind of morphed into Narnia.
Like Narnia.
Yeah, and then Antoinette.
Yeah. Was it Antoinette?
Yeah, it was Antoinette.
Yeah,
it was Antoinette. I was gonna say it was Antoinette. Yeah. She's silent, so she's behind the camera, but yeah. And so it just all came together, and I think Oscar learned a lesson of be careful what you say you can do, because he had let it slip that he does paintings, and so and that he had done a mural before. So and he's part of our design and print team, and so we kind of roped him into doing this mural, and he was joined by Stephanie Love and our own Paula Hernandez, and they worked on this mural for almost a week. I think it was a week. Oscar ended up spending all 5 days there. And it turned out awesome. And if you are an employee at Kinship, once the annex is back open, you can go in and check that out. That'll be there for
a while. So it's a scene like from Narnia where the little girl, I forget her name. Do you guys remember her name? She's standing by a lamppost where she comes out of the Narnia closet, right? And then you see the mountains, and then he even painted the White Witch Castle in the background. So it's really pretty. It's got layers.
It's got a lot of detail.
Trees.
It's really nice.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
So, and then we were able to get some Christmas trees from our stash some of the donations that we have. And everybody did a great job to make it look like Narnia.
Yes.
Look very Narnia-ish.
Yeah, and our design and print team also printed out these panels to glue onto the onto the wall panels, that just kind of made it extra special. It kind of gave it that cool effect.
Yeah. And then our own Paola also painted the front door and the front windows, which looked really good. So yeah, there's such a process, isn't there? Like the sign, getting the sign printed and hanging that up there on the wall. And so many details.
Yeah, I mean, and then ICS was, got us the printers we needed, and they were the technology gurus whenever it went down.
Yeah.
And it was just a nice space, and we were able to listen to music all day, while we're working, and it was. We talked about how cool it was to just have our
storefront,
our storefront, but our own place. That's what it felt like for those 2 months.
Season. Yeah.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the furniture, I forgot to tell you guys, we ended up giving that to Dream Center. Lex got in contact with them. They came to pick up. But then I was talking to the lady who's so IKEA donated furniture to us to decorate our storefront. And so she told me that these kids that we were giving the furniture to had nothing in their homes. I think it went to
foster youth, right?
Yeah, they're foster youth who, are aging out and they have their own place. And she's like, they're going to love this. Like, they each got to pick what they wanted. And so she's like, yeah, one of them, their apartment is empty. So that'll be like the only thing that the couch will be the only thing. So I was like, well, I'm glad that, somebody could have that at the end of the day.
Cute.
Yeah, it was really cute. Yeah.
We appreciate our IKEA friends. So yeah, it's such a collaborative effort. And at the end of the Holiday Cottage, we were able to fill 700. Lex, you told me the number yesterday, didn't you?
It was like 730.
Yeah.
730 wishes. So, and I love that these are so personal. It's not just generic wishes. It's really what the kids ask for. And so we try really hard to actually get them what they asked for. And we did great because of the community's help. Just shout out to the CARE Foundation for their grant, to Stinson's and Strata Credit Union, so many others. I'm trying to remember them all, you guys. But Kern Family Healthcare was one of our bigger donors, $10,000 or $11,000 donation. So yeah, we were just so grateful for the community's support.
One thing,
and our staff, right?
Yeah, our staff. One thing I wanted to mention is what makes Holiday Cottage so special is the personal touch to it. I feel like because the kids are able to give their wish, what they actually want for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then our donors, usually get the gift and then more. They personalize it. Or they give them a card to go along with it. Things like that. It makes it really special because, think about yourself when you were a kid. And, you want these kids to have that same type of Christmas. And now you're able to give it to them. And like not bashing any other, fundraiser or anything like that. But it's cool that we get to identify exactly what they want.
Yeah, I love that. Even, I was just remembering someone asked for a TV. Remember that? It was like a big one.
Yes.
And they got the TV.
They got the TV.
So things like that we can't do, like you said, because we have a limit per child. But we had a lot of bikes this year. The TV was cool. I saw a guitar.
We had an Xbox.
A piano. Right.
We had a desk. Someone had asked for a desk.
There were some really cool gifts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This
talk
was.
About that gift.
What's so funny, interesting about that is it was only like $15. She was having the time of her life, just like pushing it through, and it was. We don't always get to see the child's reaction, so it was perfect.
We just wanted you all to hear, as our listeners, how the Holiday Cottage works in hopes that you realize it really is a special program, and we're so happy we get to do it for the community and partner with local businesses to help make the wishes come true for local foster children. So thank you to our community, and we look forward to our 37th year. Thank you so much.
See you next year. Thank you for joining us for the Heartbeat of Human Services podcast today. We hope you'll join us next time.